Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, Sioux Empire arts and entertainment lovers. We often talk about the theater being a family. In our first conversation today, we talked to a husband and wife that are both actors, but usually only one of them is in a production at a time. Mary and Andy Ritter explained why. Then Jason Pfitzer returns to the show, talks about his passion for pictures, leading him to do photography full-time. Plus, we'll tell you who gets this week's honorable mention, as well as draw for this week's winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day, and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near, and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. Wherever you are, however you may be listening, whatever you're doing, make sure that you have some sort of glass, some sort of way to hold a beverage in your hand. It may be a champagne flute, maybe a wine glass, maybe a red wine, maybe a white wine. It might be a mug. It might be a highball. It might just be a cup. Whatever. Okay? Make sure you lift them high as we toast anticipation. We ordered a big item over the past weekend, and it's supposed to be arriving today. But that big item needed a cart to put it on, and that arrived yesterday. Were we putting the cart before the horse? No, in this case, it's the cart before the cricket. Yes, the wife and I have invested in a cricket so we can do some of our own logo applications, etc., etc. So we're looking for some new merchandise headed your way. The Weekend Eve Toast has been brought to you by Ale Hop Brewery Tours. Let Jason get you there so you can indulge without the responsibility. On Facebook, that's what James had to say. He went on to compliment Ale Hop on their knowledge of the local craft beer scene. No matter what brewery in Sioux Falls your favorite, they also go to a distillery. Ale Hop Brewery Tours gets you and your friends there in a really cool van. All you have to do, enjoy the beer or the spirits. Book your private tours at alehopbrewerytours.com. If you're already out and about on a weekend, hop on a public tour. For more info, call 605-777-2183. That is 605-777-2183. Ale Hop Brewery Tours, where micro fans meet micro brews. Well, it is time to pick a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook or Instagram is automatically entered. We draw one name each week, and this week we say congratulations to Kaylee K. She wins a pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. Congratulations. We'll be in touch to get you all set up for some jowl-dropping, show-stopping, thin-crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster, brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria, right across from USF at 26th and Waltz, and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, sonnyspizzeria.com. Honorable mention. What made Dave laugh, giggle, guffaw, smile? Maybe a tear of joy, something along that line this past week. Well, it was just a couple of days ago. As you know, I host trivia out at Chasers, way out on West 12th, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And this week, I'm sitting there going, oh, we're going to have a small crowd right now. Not many people in there, thinking that, the top three prizes were going to go to the three teams that were there. And then suddenly, boom, everybody comes in just a few minutes before the end of it. We got some new teams that got involved. And one of the teams called themselves Holly, not Dave, because they had a gal named Holly in there. And that person also had some great penmanship. It's the first time I've ever brought home one of the answer sheets from trivia to post on my bulletin board because it's beautiful. I'm going to have to take a picture of it and put it up there on Instagram and so forth. Also, for the first time in 4 years of hosting trivia, I got a tip. Yes, and not one of those don't eat yellow snow things, but an actual tip. All right. So coming up a little bit later in the show, Jason Pfitzer, the photographer, is going to be joining us. And just around the bend, it's Mary and Andy Ritter. It's all ahead on the Dave Holly Hour.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Arts and entertainment lovers, you hit the mark. It's the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. You know what I'm going to say. I'll just get it out of the way so you feel comfortable with it. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment, and it's always a pleasure to introduce you to new guests, in plural today, as we have Mary and Andrew Ritter with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
And it's great to have you both. And one of the things, it came up actually from Emily Wilson's husband. He thought of this idea a while back of, maybe we should do a series of the people that are involved in theater and the theater widows then that, have to spend time taking care of the kids, not seeing their spouse because their spouse is in rehearsals and so forth. And it's like, that's a good idea. So that part's been rolling around. So I was thinking about it anyway with the two of you. And then all of a sudden, because Mary, I've seen you in several productions with Goodnight Theater and other sources. And then all of a sudden, I'm at a Goodnight Theater production. I see you down in the front row with your kids. And all of a sudden, out comes this tall, lanky thing, and he's supposedly working at a diner. And then when it's his turn for a solo, he goes right over to that side of the stage, looks directly at you, and starts singing to you and the kids. And it was so touching and so great to look over at you and watch your facial expression. And so then it's like, well, now I got to get them both on just to talk about acting. So great to have you.
Well, thank you very much. That was a fun night.
That it was. And you weren't the only ones because, Wade Gaymar was in the front row. And then Haley had a solo. And I'm just sitting there looking at him and his smile, and all of a sudden you can see a little tear coming down, tear of joy. It's like, man, that man's in love. So it's great to see that, because one of the things that gets talked about so much when it comes to talking to people about acting is the fact that in the theater in general, is that the theater becomes such a great family, too, for everybody, doesn't it? Yeah. Mary, what got you interested to begin with in theater?
I have always been interested in theater. Literally, when I was 3 years old, I demanded that people called me Movie Star Mary.
Oh,
So
my.
I was ready for the stage at a young age, but then I didn't start actually doing theater until high school, and that's where I met Andy.
Okay. So high school sweethearts?
Yep.
Indeed.
At the
Oh,
very end there.
wow.
Yeah.
And how many children do you have now?
We have 5 children.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah.
Slightly. But it looks like you also happen to have a blast with them, too, because you guys are on the road a lot and taking some great vacations and taking some great pictures that amount to dozens.
Yes.
Yeah, we started them pretty early, going camping and getting out in the wilderness with them too.
Oh, true.
Also gives us a lot of time to sing along on the road. So they look at doing that as well. So.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And are there future Ritter stars?
I hope so. I had a couple of kids do DAPA this
Oh,
summer,
yes.
and so I'm hoping they'll catch the theater bug as well. But, I never want to push, my interests onto
Right.
them. I'll let them be their own person. But
Well,
yeah,
you can kinda
my
guide.
fingers, I was
Yeah.
like, my fingers are crossed, and we'll see.
There's a couple of them that like sell tickets to their shows frequently.
Yeah, we have
Oh,
productions at our
really?
house weekly.
Oh,
so
never kidding.
Every time somebody comes to
I
the house,
love it.
Rosie is giving them tickets to her show later.
Yes,
Oh.
I attended production at least
Yes.
once a day
Yeah.
of some sort of song and dance.
That is so great. And, I used to do some clowning, and I would do birthday parties and so forth. And one of the things that I got so disappointed in is when a parent would go, "Oh, that's so embarrassing," and so forth. And it's like, no.
That's the
Do
best.
not stop
the
somebody's
best.
creativity and imagination. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I also play Santa Claus, and there's a picture of me at 4 years old in red jammies,
You were ready.
and I had taken cotton balls
Oh my gosh.
and dabbed a little glue to
Nice.
put it all over. Yeah.
I love it. And that's great.
And I'm so thankful that I was allowed to have imagination, and I'm just it's a wonder to see that when you see other kids, and when you're from the theater, like you two are, then it's pretty natural for that to happen with them, and for you to be guiding them and letting them and allowing them.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
I love that. I would like to attend a production sometime.
Oh, you are
All you have
welcome.
to do is show
and
up
I
at
was
the
like,
house
come
and
to the
there'll be
house
one.
and there will be a show.
Anytime, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Come on
I
over.
love that. Yeah.
No matter what,
Yes.
they're sleeping.
So Andrew, how about you then? Was it the same situation? You just
Yeah, basically. So I was always in choir, and
Okay.
I did like band, marching band, all that stuff, jazz band.
Uh-huh.
And then I didn't really do any theater until high school. I'd watch a lot of the shows. I loved going to O'Gorman's shows. And then I started my freshman year. I was in Joseph, which was like a huge production at
Oh, yeah.
O'Gorman, and that kind of got me hooked in there. And then that's kind of how we met. I guess we kind of I don't know if you were in Joseph.
No, I was
Oh,
not.
you were you were an eighth
A year.
grader still.
I was a year younger
So
than him.
we
I was
didn't
chasing
really
the
know each
older
other
man.
back then, but,
So had you seen her in something prior to when you got on stage?
No, we were in show
we were in
choir
show
too.
choir and like
We
when
didn't
Okay.
realize in junior high together, but I had no
Yes.
idea he
There's
existed.
some VHS tapes of that, but so, we didn't know each other then.
So was it love at first sight then when you were on stage for the first time?
No.
It wasn't.
while. It was high school. It was a
Well,
rough
I
time.
liked him. Love at first sight. I mean, it took. He's kind of
I had no idea
oblivious to
what's going
girls
on.
at that point. He had no idea. Like that, so many girls thought he was so cute and like, look at that Andy Ritter.
Oh wow! Woo. Stud.
There's no blushing on podcasts. right?
Exactly. Wait till the day we go video. Mary, what's been the most fun role you've ever had?
I believe. I mean, they're all fun. They're all
Right.
amazing. But I think the one that just stands out the most is when I was Peter Pan at USD and I got to fly a lot on
Really?
stage. And that was just so fun. And then actually at the Sioux Empire Community Theater, I got to fly again as Dorothy. So I've had a couple opportunities to be hoisted into the air on stage, which is, I think, a pretty unique experience in general. But to do it twice is fun. So I think
Yeah.
Peter Pan and Dorothy are some of my most memorable roles just for that experience.
Well, they wanted to have me fly in a production one time, but they couldn't get the crane inside the theater.
Rats.
Andy, what about your favorite role that you've had?
So probably back in high school we did Guys and Dolls, and I was Sky Masterson.
Sky.
So I got to pretend
Great
I could
role.
sing jazz, which was kind of fun.
Uh-huh.
And Mary was actually Adelaide in that show. So
Really?
we had like I think one scene together. I don't remember exactly. There wasn't a lot of
Yes.
interaction.
Uh-huh.
There, but that was probably my favorite one. A lot of singing, dancing, a lot of guy
Right.
numbers, which was fun. But that was a good time.
All right, so do you take on the Frank Sinatra type persona for it?
I tried. Yeah, I was like a senior in high school. So.
Give us a little luck, be a lady.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Oh, nice.
I have to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, and lady, is it luck?
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent. That's so much fun, I tell you. You guys are great as a couple, as a married couple. When are we going to see you as adults now on stage together, considering you have that clan of 5?
Yeah, it's difficult to do, especially when they're at this age. My dream is to have another opportunity to be on stage with Andy again. We're just not in that season quite yet with the kiddos, that being the ages they are, with our youngest only still 1 year old. But, we do have a lot of support from our
Family.
Both
Right.
of our
Yep.
parents are
Yep.
in town, so this is why we're able to do theater here in town. It's just from the...
We have family in town to help with childcare, and the kids. Gabe is now 11, so he can take care of
kinda
stuff.
take-
That's who's taking care of the kids
Right.
at the moment.
I was like, he's hanging out right now. They're watching Bluey.
But we've kind of had some, we kind of alternate a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Mary will do a couple of shows.
Yeah.
I do some some choir work here in town too, so I can do that. And it's worked out, kind of alternating a little better.
Yeah, just
right
taking
now.
turns.
So, yeah.
By the way, you said you were in jazz band. What did you play in jazz band?
I was a drummer. I had the trap set.
Excellent. Do you still have one?
No, I had, when I was in med school, I was in an efficiency apartment, and I had to get rid of it. So I kept the piano, but the trap set had to go.
Yeah, and a few loans.
Yes,
I suppose.
yes.
Yeah.
I had to sell. Some
Hello,
of it.
pawn shop. Oh, Mary, what is the thing that you enjoy most about being on stage?
I just enjoy getting to make new friends, honestly, and build these relationships. And there's nothing I might not have never met these people prior.
True.
Having not, being at home with my kiddos, I'm not out in the world all the time. So just getting to build friendships and just all of those fun, special memories you build together during a production is really special.
So, Andy, when you were in the diner in that cabaret for Good Night, was that planned that you, from the beginning, when you said, oh gosh, I'm going to have a solo, I'm going to get a chance to sing to her? Or was that all of a sudden, hey, she's in the front
right
row, I'm
there.
headed there?
Well, she heard me sing a lot at home too, so it was just very comfortable going over there. And actually, I didn't know that they were going to be in the front row until that day or something.
Yeah,
so
I let 'em know.
it
I'm
wasn't
like, by the way,
exactly
I'm gonna
planned.
stage left.
I could use the whole stage, so I could do whatever. So it worked out kind of on the fly.
Yeah,
mostly.
and it was great to see because it was like, oh man, he's headed right there. In about a split
Yeah,
second,
yes, there you
you were singing to the family, and
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Make it worth their
Excuse me.
while. Yes.
I should have had a bottle of
You
water
need
with me.
water, too.
Yeah, you get, oh yeah, it's over there. Anywho, so when you do have separate shows and you're in rehearsals and you got to run lines, do you run lines with each other?
We've done that.
I have in the past, but I was like,
Mary has her own kind of way to do it. She usually actually writes a lot.
Okay.
That's how I
memorize stuff.
rehearse. I like to write down my lines, and if I
Right.
can just write them without thinking, then I know that I have them down.
Ah,
But I obviously
interesting. I've not heard it that way before.
Yeah, and I obviously say them out loud many, many times too.
Yeah.
But
And some
that's
of-
just my quizzing
Yeah,
myself.
some of the more bantering when it goes fast back and forth. Then we do that.
Yeah.
Well, then I suppose the kids will probably be involved in this.
Oh,
and they'll
the
be
kids
running
know all
lines
the
with her.
songs
I
that
was just
were-
going to say
yeah.
they've got that memory that
Oh,
you have
yeah.
at that age. It's
Yes. The
Spectacular.
carpool pickup line, when we're sitting in the car waiting for the kids, I'll hear Rosie rattle off a line or two or sing a little
From
song
Matilda, yeah.
she'll sing stuff from Matilda. I had people singing things from Rocky Horror, and I'm like, you're 3. You should probably not be singing all of the. I mean, they're not inappropriate, but still, just like people are gonna think I'm letting you watch that. But
So they've
really,
got time warped down.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to the next time you get back on stage together?
Yeah, I don't know. Just
Together?
Yeah,
Or-
just spending
yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
quality time together. The special memories that I was just talking to you about, like that, having that with my husband is going to be amazing. So I look forward to having that opportunity for us to
And-
hang out.
Yeah, to do a different way to like create stuff. So I mean, we do
Right.
some of that at home. We're making memories with the family. We're designing holidays and stuff like that. But to do it
Attending shows daily.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
But to be able to do some of that like creative process for other people and for like the community, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Either of you ever directed?
No,
I
mean
have-
the kid. I direct the kids.
Yeah. I'm like, I have in the past, but it's been a long time since I've actually been in the director role.
Yeah.
So I've
What's
done
a-
choreography more. So
Okay, yeah. So you know how to coach people along the way and so forth.
Yep.
But so when you have to be the one being coached, is it easier because you've had that experience of either directing or being a choreographer, so that it's easier for you to soak in and go with whatever that person has in mind?
I think it's just different, but honestly, I feel like being a parent, you make so many decisions constantly. Being told what to do is kind of nice and refreshing. It's just a different way. I don't know. I don't think it's hard taking direction or instructions from other people. I kind of enjoy people giving me ideas and stuff, so I'm open to it always.
And either of you thought about writing? Because you like to write your lines. Have you thought about writing a play?
I have. Oh, absolutely. I will think about that in my daydreams all the time. I think about, I'm like, oh, that would be a really fun concept, or so, I don't know. But we'll see. I have, again, 5 children. There's not a lot of free time, quote unquote, and my free time is mostly given to when I get on stage.
But I would
so.
assume that provides a lot of dialogue to write.
Right. Oh man. I could write lots of stories
Okay.
about the stuff.
Give us you've got 5. Let's go with the middle child.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
So, what's a phrase from the middle child or a nuance that they have that you're thinking that would be fun?
oh man.
Millie? Millie has way
my
too many.
silly Millie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. I mean, no one has like a catchphrase. I mean, we are laughing constantly with the one-liners, but like. Again, there's 5 of them. It happens a lot. So I can't really think. Millie's just. She wants a piggyback ride down the stairs every single morning to breakfast because she just loves her bed and cozy and stuff like that. So to get her out of her bed, Andy has to bribe her with not having to walk down the stairs, but have a piggyback ride down the stairs to the
It's her
breakfast
special
table.
time.
That's kind of now become kind of a cute routine. And I'm like, it'll be sad when that stops.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Andy, do you see this coming to fruition?
Do
That
what?
that
Oh, the
Mary
writing?
would write a play?
I guess I don't know. I haven't really heard her talk about that before. So
Surprise!
There we
Surprise!
go.
I'm writing plays.
I think that would be a lot of fun, and we would have a lot of material at
Truly.
home. It would probably be a specific audience to enjoy the kid bantering, but it would be fun.
Yeah. Well, and what they always say is, write what you know.
Right?
Yeah. So that would be on topic for the two of you for sure. Andy, what do you think you bring to a role?
The role in at
Any
home, or-
role. When you go in an audition, what's in your mind frame that, okay, here's my strengths?
So I guess my main strength, I guess, is that I have a vocal minor. I did a lot of singing, so that musicality I think is my strength there. So I'm trying to bring that to the stage and share that with people, and then I think that's most of it. Is the training that I've had singing, to share that. And hopefully to like learn more about that stuff too, because I haven't had training for a while now. So that's what I'm trying to get out of it, I guess. But and what I bring, I think that's what it is. It's the music part of it. The dancing part, as Mary knows, is not as good.
Said the choreographic. But in terms of an audition for you, then, if it's an audition where you can go in and just bring your own monologue or your own song and so forth, what's your go-to?
Older musical theater like Les Mis and some Stephen Sondheim. That's kind of usually what I go to. I think those are pretty like emotionally large and varied, and especially Sondheim is it's kind of nuanced too. So that's usually what I would go to. Those are and that style is more. It's less pitchy. I don't know. Not pitchy is not right. It's more classical style of singing.
Right.
So it's more operatic almost. So I think that's my strength there too. So.
All right, Mary, you go into an audition. What's on your mind as to, hey, this is what I can do to get cast?
I when I audition, that's when I usually bust out my big belty numbers and all of my. I just try to show, I guess, my range, and then I'll try to do something really different then. So I'll try to do more operatic or kind of like just vocally different techniques to show that I'm more versatile that way. But yeah, so my other little weird thing is I can do like character voices and little things like that.
Really?
So I played like Little Sally in You're in Town a couple times, and so I've had to play a kid, and so I'm able to change up my voice and accents and all of that kind of stuff. So
give me a Southern Belle.
A Southern Belle? What? I do declare. No, I'm not. I'm not warmed up either, but it's all right. No, usually it tends that when I get into large groups of theater people, we end up speaking in multiple dialects throughout the night and stuff.
True.
So yes, that just tends to happen. That we start.
I do that even when I'm just talking to myself.
I mean, no, my kids get really annoyed when I switch into different voices, and they're like, "Just talk in your normal voice, Mom." Yeah. I'm like, "But that's boring."
Yeah, I know.
Story time is fun.
Yeah, story time at our house is always a fun time.
Yeah. Did you both take oral interp in college or high school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
I had a lot of fun doing that, that's for sure. So when it comes to the big show, what are you hoping that is in terms of what's going to be the top for Mary Ritter and Andrew Ritter in your acting and performing careers?
I've got a lot of bucket list shows. I'm actually going to do one of them this year, Company. I love that show, and that was my hope dream that we were going to do that one. Oh, but that, again, just not the right season. So I am really looking forward to doing a Stephen Sondheim show. I have not done one yet. And so Company is one of my most favorite and meaningful shows. So that's one of them. And then I mean, there's just so many on my list of all the things I want to do. So I don't know, but that's one of them. And I get to do it this year.
Yep.
And for you, Andy?
I love Company. And again, Les Mis is just beautiful.
That would be incredible to do too.
And then Jason Robert Brown stuff would be a lot of fun too. His last 5 years and Other People's Clothes. Those would be fun shows.
Yeah, they are, no doubt about that.
A little more private, but
yeah. Any pre-show rituals that you have? I mean, besides what you do as a cast, to warm up and so forth. But prior to that, as you're getting ready yourself for your character, any particular things you do?
Not really. I mean, when I'm doing my hair and makeup, that's really when I feel like I get into the character. Like I can kind of see my whole physicality in my body kind of change. I'm like, okay, now I'm sinking into this person. So when I see my physical appearance get altered by that, that's when I kind of start embodying and feeling like I'm okay. Now I'm putting Mary aside for a moment. I'm putting this person on, and so that's kind of when I feel that, and I notice that in me when I'm getting ready for the show is when I'm getting hair and makeup done.
Yep.
So you can still be mom at home
Yeah.
before you leave. Because I know in college, somebody that was an acting friend, he would start at home.
Yeah,
getting
and that's
into
where I get
character.
ready too. Is
Yeah.
at home mostly.
Oh, okay. So it is at that point.
Yeah.
Then. Oh, wow.
So the kids get to see that
Yeah,
transition.
they kind of
Yeah.
get to see that a little bit, and so I'll come down the stairs, and they're like when I was in Matilda, they're like saw me as Mrs. Wormwood with her very gaudy makeup and hair, wig and stuff, and they were like, "Whoa, you do not look like Mom." And
Yeah.
I certainly wasn't acting
Yeah.
like Mom at that point.
Yeah.
Andy, what about you then?
So I have to kind of get myself psyched up a little bit. I'm technically more of an introvert most of the time. So with getting ready for those shows,
can
I'm
tell.
usually kind of, yes. I usually have to, we do the warm-ups and things together. But then I usually kind of have to spend some time like on my own thinking about stuff, kind of going through the transitions that I'll have to do for the show, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I kind of get into it. And I kind of am a little more businessy at that point. Like I need to get this stuff done today. So
Oh,
I don't have as much
so
hair and
fun.
makeup
So-
to do. So
No.
So you've got company that you're going to be in. Any other shows that either of you are going to be in this upcoming
I'm
season?
also very, very excited to do Reefer Madness
Oh,
this year.
yeah.
Oh, and I did that show in, it was actually my first show I choreographed ever. And so I was the choreographer for that for the USD Student Theater Co-op. And then I was in the ensemble as well during that show. And so this year I get to do Mary Lane. So I am so looking forward to that because she is just, it's such a fun change from her sweet little self to what happens later on. So
it was a fun show to bring the entire med school to. Like I brought all of my med school to
Right.
that show, and they thoroughly enjoyed it.
it was
back
a
at
fun
USD.
show, and I'm so looking forward to that one too. So it's a very different type of show than Company. So I'm excited to have that variety this year.
And so, Andy, what are you possibly going to be in?
So this year I'm not doing anything with the Goodnight
Okay.
Company. I do again some choir stuff. So I sang for Transept. They had a concert this last week, and then I sing for the Symphony Orchestra Choir. So they're going to do they do
Christmas
the Messiah
time.
every year,
Yeah.
and then Beethoven's Ninth this year, and the Mozart's Requiem is going to be in the spring. And I think there's going to be another Transept concert. We haven't figured that one out yet, though. So those are a little more project-y.
Yeah.
The symphony orchestra is like a once-a-week commitment usually, and then there's like the weeks of the performances are a little intense.
Kicks it up a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the way I kind of like that because it allows me a little more variability. And then the Transept concerts are fun because that's basically a week and a half of preparing and then performing. So it's this short burst of high intensity stuff. So I
His
really enjoy
nurses
that.
find it very fun when he's singing at work.
Yes,
honestly.
I do have to sing at work.
Just another
They're
crowd,
like,
another
don't worry
audience.
about it. I'm
Yeah.
just singing. It's
Yeah,
not a
any
big
standing
deal.
ovations at work?
Not yet. No. They do come to the shows though.
What is the most rewarding part of acting? You already mentioned the family aspect and so forth, meeting new friends, but in terms of personal within, when you get up on stage and you get that standing ovation and so forth, what's the feeling?
I guess I'm just grateful that I was given that opportunity to be part of somebody else's life, and I am allowing people to go and enjoy a night out at the theater, and I was a part of that, and I feel honored that I was given that opportunity. So I think there's a lot of pride in that. Just all the hard work that we put in
Right.
has made the audience happy. We just made their night. So
I think that's part of it too. I think just sharing those in music and in theater in general, you're sharing kind of bigger ideas than
Yes.
you get across in normal conversation. You're talking about deeper things in different ways, subtle ways sometimes. And so to go through that emotional journey with people, I think is probably the most rewarding for me. To communicate things that aren't exactly always explicitly communicated. And I think that's why you get the stand those ovations. It's because they appreciate this truth
Sure.
stuff that you're telling.
Yeah, I remember the first time that an improv group that I was in ever had a performance that we were getting paid for. And the leader said before we went out, says, just remember, 95% of the people are going to love it. because 95% of the people don't have the guts to do what you're doing. And I think of that in any type of performance situation that, a great deal of people are going to be very appreciative just simply for the fact that they do get to go see you. And, it's not just that it's, especially when you're in a community such as ours, it's not just the fact that you have an audience. That audience is made up of family, it's made up of friends, it's made up of coworkers, and acquaintances and so forth. So it's truly special. And so thank you both for, first of all, being on. And my final questions are coming in a moment, but I want to make sure I give a special shout out. We're recording this at The Source on North Phillips, which we've had a few conversations down here with our guests, and the people at The Source are always great. But today I met the owner of Brosia Bowl, Bill the Bowl of Goodness. Brosia from the word ambrosia, which is Greek for food of the gods. You knew that. And Darcy Green is the owner. We had a great conversation earlier this morning, and so there's the shout out to Darcy Green. Darcy, giving you a shout out right now. All right, she's waving back at us. She's preparing all sorts of good stuff for people. So just wanted to mention that as well. But here we go. The final questions. Question 1 sometimes means we don't need to have question 2 because it gets answered quite often. But when you're not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
What do I like to be entertained by? Crafting in general. I like to paint and do house projects and stuff. So I'll take on a DIY project every now and then. So that'll entertain me for quite some time if I allow it to.
I guess I have a lot of other hobbies and things. I do a lot of biking. We like going camping, designing those trips. And I stargaze a lot too. So I have a telescope. We take that out every once in a while. And Mary wants to tell me to say that I do a bunch of synthesizer music. So kind of got into that over the sort of through the pandemic.
Right.
Where you can kind of program your own songs and beats. And it's mostly to entertain myself. I don't know if anybody else in the house enjoys it. I have headphones most of the time. But
she has
that's
that
fun.
Yes. Grin of, yes, honey, I do.
If I can't find him in the house, I know exactly where he is. He's hiding in his little synth.
I don't know if I
den,
call it a studio. But
Synth studio.
Yeah,
I like
not
it.
quite more of a cave.
Yeah.
Mary and Andrew Ritter, thank you both so much for being on the show and for what you do for this community with all the time you spend on stage. It's greatly appreciated.
Well,
thank you very
so
much for having us. It's
Yes.
been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Time for more arts and entertainment talk on the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. You know what I like to say. It's always a pleasure, and it's especially fun to have great guests along on this show and repeat guests. For his second time, photographer Jason Pfitzer. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
It's been a while since we've spoken on here.
Yes.
But I've been well, thank you. Good. And I'm even more excited because I know you're doing really well. You decided to make the jump. The photography that we talked about last time around, It's your full-time gig now, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. What prompted it?
We decided, we being my wife and I, that we needed to give it a try and see if we couldn't make a real strong go of this. And it just seemed to be a good time for me, to leave the job that I was in. Kind of a state of fluctuation, anyways. There, and so, we thought, well, let's give it a shot and go all in and stop messing around.
So, at what point did you actually become full-time? Just a month ago, a couple weeks ago?
just a month ago. I kind of assume that I became full time when my last day at my previous full time job, it was over. It's kind of where I assumed that at that point then I became full time in the career choice now.
All right, and so the career choice of photography. We've talked about your love of it for a long time, but what made you at one point in your life say, you know what, this is more than just a hobby. I can do something with this.
Sure. Well, I guess it's when I started actually selling it. When people would actually pay for it. I tell my wife all the time that I'm still surprised that anybody buys any of my stuff. But people seem to like it, and that's good. I love sharing it with people, and it's just just a natural part of the progression of the photography to take it and share it with others. It doesn't do me any good to have it sitting on my camera or the canvas is sitting in my basement. So, it's been a lot of fun for me just to get out there and take the art to the people and say, here's what I do and here's what I present, and what do you think?
All right. So you actually go ahead and do the canvas printing on your own then?
No, actually,
you don't.
Okay. I don't do any of my own printing. I'm a photographer, not a printer.
Okay.
I leave that to more highly skilled people than me.
Ever thought of it though?
There's talk of it,
just
but
in terms of a cost.
Yeah, it's a cost thing, and then it's also a time constraint.
True.
Because if I'm busy making canvases, then I'm not busy doing other things, like either taking photos or prepping for another show or any number of other things.
And speaking of, you're going to be busy this weekend, correct?
Yeah, I am going to be busy this weekend. I'm going to be busy from now until Christmas doing one art show or another throughout like a 3-state region.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to be out in Rapid City this weekend.
Awesome.
Just for a day, little small show.
One-day show.
Yeah.
Well, hey, there was a kind of a big one-day show here.
Yeah.
Just a while back, wasn't there?
This one's going to have a little less people than the Sidewalk Arts Festival, but it'll be a lot of fun. It's Rapid City. That's my hometown. I was born there, so it's going to be nice to go back, see some family, maybe some friends, and share my art with people.
And maybe even take some more photos.
Well, of course, there's always that. Yes, the camera is always along as well.
Well, not only just that, but the fact that where you're going out in the Black Hills.
Correct.
And a few picturesque scenes.
Yeah, there might be a place or two that I can probably find.
Especially when you do enjoy landscapes, and do such a great job on things like that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful place to take any photograph stuff.
Is there one in particular, since you grew up in that area, that you know about but you haven't taken a picture of yet?
I actually have had pretty good luck at getting all the shots that I really wanted to get out of the Black Hills. The last shot I needed was that of Stav Kirk in the winter, and I went out this last Christmas and was able to get that photograph, and I was really excited about that. And so right now I'm kind of been doing a lot of architecture photos, old photos of buildings and things like that. So it'd be kind of fun to do that. And I know there's like there's a Stockman's sign downtown that is an old neon sign. That'd be kind of fun to look at and see if I can't take some pictures of that. Other than that, it's just going to be maybe get up into the hills, maybe up into the Needles area, and see if there's anything that's worth photographing up there. I'm pretty sure I'll find something.
I have seen some of your work because I'm a fan of it, first of all. We do happen to be friends, and you've done some work for me. Thank you very much.
No, absolutely.
For those that would like to see it, go to DaveHolleyhour.com, and homepage you're gonna get a view of it as to what this man can do. And also, speaking of websites then, and going into business full time, let's get the word out for you then. Where do they need to go to find out more?
Sure. So, I do have a website. It's jasonpfitzerphotography.com. Pfitzer's kind of a funny name. It's Pfitzer. So jasonpfitzerphotography.com. Otherwise, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Slowly building a very slow build for Etsy. So I have a spot on Etsy as well. So
Yeah, what are some of the other places you'd like to get involved in then with too?
Well, I mean, I want, to grow my online presence is great, but I just really like to do the art shows. That's kind of what my bread and butter is, and get a chance to really talk to the people. But beyond that, take it to maybe I just signed up and am now working with the East Bank Art Gallery, so I have a small display there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to be there. And continue to work with maybe other small businesses to see about putting my product into their locations to help them out, and obviously myself as well. So the variety of options is unlimited, really, and that's really one of the hardest parts about this new venture for me is staying focused and not trying to go to too many different places too quickly. So I got to try to remain focused, stay after what I know right now, and then keep looking for new alternatives.
Earlier you mentioned the fact that the camera's always long, and your travels show that. And I think I don't know if you actually considered that you had done it as a series or not, but just in your travels, seeing some of the old retro places, all the closed down diners and so forth along the side of a road, and that stuff is just awesome. And that's the type of thing that a guy of my age likes to reminisce about, and thinks of the times that places like that were open and so forth. And the other thing is, you mentioned that the last time that we talked here on the show about photography is always have the camera with you. And when you see something, stop and take a picture.
Yep, absolutely.
So what intrigues you as you're driving along the road and all of a sudden you go, yeah, better have that one?
That's a good question, and it varies, again, because if you look at my artwork, I don't specialize in any one thing. I don't just do barns. I don't just do churches. I don't just do landscapes. I'll do, like you said, abandoned cafes to signage to a wheat field. It's just kind of whatever, and it just happens to be whatever catches my eye. We being my wife and I, when we're driving, a lot of times I like to get off of the interstate because that's where really
you're going to find
America
the gems.
really is. And so, that's where you usually find the little things. Like I have a series of wall drug signs that I've done. So I've taken photos of a variety of wall drug signs. Again, the best ones to find are actually the ones that are off the highways, not the interstate, because those are a little bit older, maybe a little more rustic. Yeah. And so they're fun to see and to find, and they're the ones that most people don't see on a regular basis. So those have been fun. I also just recently did a nostalgia series, or I'm working on a nostalgia series, where I took a bunch of old bottles and like medicine bottles, candy displays, any number of things, and putting them in a still life photography, and really, like you said, bringing back memories to people. My father has a whole bunch of stuff that my grandmother collected for many, many years. So I went to his house and shot a bunch of stuff and took a lot of things off of his walls and put them all into a display. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I've been working with the guys like at Benson's Flea Market and 605 Antiques. Those guys are, I've met a variety of people there that have wonderful antiques that I'd like to photograph. Mainly for my own personal enjoyment, but it's also a lot of people look at that and they say, "Oh, I remember when we used to have Red Owl, spices," or I didn't know this, but Watkins at one time did razor blades. The
Watkins products.
Watkins products had razor blades.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knew that? I didn't know that, but my grandmother did because she had a box of Watkins razor blades. So so I'm looking to try to broaden. I still like my landscape, and I'm not gonna steer away from that because it's my bread and butter, and it's something I truly enjoy. But I'm also wanting to grow as an artist and see what other things I can really try to bring out. And so, like I said, I got the nostalgia series. I brought that out, and I debuted it at Sidewalk Arts Festival. Going to continue to grow that one. Like I said, the Wall Drug series has been a lot of fun for me as well. So again, just South Dakota nostalgia, memories is really what we sell, as memories more than anything.
True. And, my wife and I are hoping to make some coming up because I found out recently, speaking of Wall Drug, that she's never been.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because, it's a second marriage for each of us. And we're finding out, because we both love the Black Hills, but we're finding out we have different places we've been. So, when we get a chance coming up next spring, we're going to head out that way. And I was surprised because she said, Yeah, I've never been to Wall Drug, and I think of all those signs along the way. And you're right, you get off the beaten path, and that's where you're going to find the gems. And it is just a classic place, first of all, and also a great touristy spot. But still, even when something is commercialized, I'm guessing you still find a spot or a niche of that becomes more art for you, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In my opinion, there's beauty everywhere.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to look a little hard to find it, but there really is. One of the neat things about, like, for example, like Wall Drug, if you go to Wall Drug, is, like their bar that has all the silver dollars.
Yep.
That's amazing. And you're not going to find that anywhere else. And obviously, they're wood-carved totems that they have throughout the cafe. Again, all of those things are very unique, and that is art. Whether I take a photo of it in an artistic, unique way, or if you're just looking at it and visiting and seeing those things. Again, silver dollars are such a foreign concept nowadays to the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was growing up, you got a silver dollar in your hand, that was a big deal. And especially if it was pure silver, it was really a big deal. But it was just fun to have those, and versus a paper dollar or $2 bills are still a lot of fun for me. I still get a kick out of getting a $2 bill.
Yeah, I always remember that it was usually the toe of the stocking at Christmas time that had that silver dollar.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. So there's memories and nostalgia all over, and what's nostalgic to you is probably nostalgic to many. I sometimes just take it and take a picture of it, and that's the difference, and then people look at it and go, oh my goodness, this resonates with me. And that's where my art really does bring back people, and the reason why they like it is because it does resonate with them. It brings back something, whether it's a field of hay bales that they've seen. It doesn't have to be their hay bales in their field, but it's something that they grew up with. Or, you drive down a county road in South Dakota or Iowa or even, Kansas. It's something that resonates because you've seen it, you recognize it, it's familiar and comforting, and that's what I like to see.
We talk about taking a picture. To get that one picture, though, how many are you usually shooting? As I've gotten better, it's less. But like I'll go out. Like I was just in Rochester taking some photos for an art show that I'm going to be doing at the end of the month. And I walked out of there after visiting, downtown, being there for 6 hours. I took 700 photos. So, and of those, maybe, I'll get 70 that were of something I really want to try to either print or reproduce. So about 1 out of 10, realistically. Again, some of them are just, when I look at it after I've taken the photo, it doesn't portray what it was supposed to portray. It didn't show through my camera. Others are like, well, this is just a terrible photo. And so. Right, and you're in digital format.
I am all digital, yes.
All digital. So do you quite often just take a look immediately after you've taken that picture?
I do.
And then go, I better go about 5 feet to the right.
Yep, and you can do that, yeah. A lot of times it's just a feel, and I call myself a walk around or a handheld photographer. I don't bring my tripod with me very much.
Really?
Nope. Very
with
rarely.
With all the landscapes you do.
With very rarely do I use a tripod. And I take my shot and then I move along. I don't set up. I don't sit there for hours to try to get a sunset just right. If the sunset's setting and I'm right in the right place at the right time, I take the photo. If it's not, well, I guess I missed it. I'll try again tomorrow. So yeah, I'm a little different in that regards. That I don't do a lot. I'm always in a hurry. It's almost like I'm maybe in too big of a hurry. But I've also grown up with when I say grown up as a photographer, with 3 kids in the car waiting for me to take this picture, my wife in the car waiting for me to take the picture. We're trying to get to our next destination. People are tired and hungry. So I've kind of gotten used to just trying to get those shots in as quickly as I can and moving on to my next location or destination.
All right, so you were in Sioux Falls here for the Sidewalk Arts Festival. You're heading out west, going to go to Rapid, and to be there for a show this coming weekend.
Correct.
And, we've already talked about the fact, kind of picturesque out there and so forth. Who buys more Black Hills-oriented photos? Those that live there, or those of us here on the east side of the state that wish we did?
Actually, the people from the area usually buy the more of the stuff.
Really?
Yep. I think what I've found is that, again, people really like what is familiar to them.
True.
Like I took a photo of the Moonshine Gulch Saloon, which, if you spent any time hunting or spending, or biking or anything in the Black Hills, you're familiar with that spot. I've sold that image quite a bit because, again, people are familiar with it. I can take that same image, or I can have an image of a stream in the Black Hills. It's just as beautiful, if not more so, realistically, and it'll sell once every, while, because it doesn't resonate with them. They don't have a memory or a history with that. So even though people in the eastern part of the state vacation and have homes and other things in the Black Hills, they actually prefer to buy the Arc of Dreams or the Dignity photos, or maybe the old Courthouse Museum, because again, those are things that they resonate with on a daily basis. Or they like I said, they like the iconics, like the Moonshine Gulch,
right,
Mount Rushmore, things like that.
Yeah, it's been so interesting to see black and white come about in the digital age now. I grew up being a photographer in high school and so forth, and loved it. Had my own darkroom, which was black and white only.
Right, I remember you saying.
And so I loved that. I loved taking color pictures and so forth, but, would have those develop, but loved seeing that black and white image come together. And it's just so interesting now to see, because we're all shooting in color. I love color. And it's interesting to go, maybe that one we go B&W on. Do you have that feeling as you're framing it? Or do you see them all later and look through them and go, that's the one that's going to become a black and white?
Typically, for me, it's usually after the fact, unless I'm specifically shooting something for a reason. Usually, I like to see it in color and then decide if I want to put it in black and white. I'm not really a black and white photographer, and I think when you have somebody that does shoot primarily in that medium or that format of black and white, they do look for things that are more black and white. A lot of street photographers like black and white. For landscapes, black and white's not necessarily the best medium for that. And again, I find that the image itself will tell me when I'm going through it and using Lightroom, it'll tell me what the image is supposed to look like. Should it be brighter? Should it be lighter? Should it be, should I maybe bring up a little bit of a red in this or something like that? And then, like I was talking to a gal who's a photographer out in Iowa, and she does a lot of black and white, and she had a picture of an old barn with a rusty roof, and she had it in black and white, and all I could think to myself was, well, it's rust.
Yeah, how rusty is it?
And so rust, by definition, is a color. And so to change that to a black and white image, I felt personally that was a poor decision on her part. She should keep it in the color, because that's really what draws the image, is the coloring of the rust. Otherwise, it's just a barn, and a barn is a barn for most people, but when you have the color to it, the rust color, then people recognize that and they resonate with it. Sometimes, though, black and white is really strong. I have a nice shot of the Orpheum Theater that I took at Christmas time. It was at midnight. It was, I was the only one out. It was great. And it looks really good in black and white because the colors, the lights come out in it. And then you've got your dark shadows still. And, but again, I didn't take that picture intending it to be black and white. But when I was looking at it and doing it through the editing process, it's like, this one needs to be in black and white. But again, I don't really shoot a lot in black and white or edit in black and white. But I do have some shots that I really think are really powerful in black and white.
So you don't do any of your own printing, but you do your own editing, obviously.
I do, absolutely.
And how long of a process is that usually going to take you? Once you've said, okay, this is the shot, I'm going to go big on this. And how precise do you get, and what's your process as you go through that? Well,
so for me, for editing, I can knock out editing pretty quickly because I'm pretty familiar with it, and I like to think I really enjoy editing. It's kind of it's a lot of fun for me. I don't go in and do a lot of tweaking of my images. I'll bring up some, I might bring down or up some shadows. I might bring up some coloring on certain ones. I remove the chromatic aberrations because digital with the lenses now, you're shooting in such extreme conditions sometimes that you get some JPEG coloring issues and things like that. So I'll fix all that. But overall, I try to be pretty standard with my editing. So an image itself could only take me 2 to 5 minutes maybe to edit an image. Again, I'm looking at growing my portrait work, maybe some senior portraits and things like that. That's something that's going to take me some learning to get better at with the editing, because there's a lot more editing that goes into beauty photos than probably most people realize. With facial, smoothing and things like that, and changing colors and things like that. I'm not to that point yet, and I don't have a real strong editing suite or anything like that. I use Photoshop and Lightroom, and but I'm not in Photoshop very often.
Okay. All right. So the sizes that you like to sell at an art show, if you have a picture, is it available in each of the sizes that you have?
Oh, yeah. I can make most any image, any size. I had a gal just this last weekend want to know if I could do one in 12 by 18 feet.
Oh, my.
So I'm looking into that. I don't know if I'll be able to pull such a thing off. I'm not entirely sure I could even get that printed.
How many pixels?
Yeah, that'll be a massive file if I can even pull it together.
What's the biggest you feel comfortable having printed at this point?
It depends on the image, because some of them I tweak to make them look like photos. I mean, make them look like paintings instead of photos,
right? Yeah.
And that diminishes the pixels of the. So it really depends on the image. I print regularly in 48 inches wide by 20, and I don't have any problem with that. So 4 feet, 5 feet is about as big as I think I generally can print. I can go bigger if we need to, but nobody's ever asked me to go any bigger than that.
Last time around, we did talk about some basics of photography, and we share some of them. The grid of 9 squares and being exactly in the center for something. But what other things do you like to tell people that want to get into photography? And it's more than just keeping a picture of the folks at Christmas, things like that. They want to get artsy with it. What are the things you like to tell them?
Okay. Well, one of the things is to look at things from a different angle or a different perspective. So like if you're taking pictures of animals, the best thing you can do for animals is to get down to their level and get them in frame. Or even if you can, like if you have a cat, if you want that cat to come walking at you, which by the way, you have beautiful cats.
Thank you.
If you want to get a picture of them coming at you, try to get down even lower than the cat's head and shoot the cat up, looking up. You'll get a unique perspective to it, and it brings something a little more to the image. Cows are notorious. People love pictures of cows. Get down to their level of their eyes. And then the same thing with any other image, is again, look at it from a different perspective. I have a shot of the Dignity statue by Chamberlain, and I took it by looking straight kind of up at her chin, and it's been very well received, and it's very arty, and it brings a unique perspective to Dignity that most people don't see. They see her looking straight on. I have another image which is a lot of fun. We call our Where's Waldo shot. I took it while I was driving the back road of Keystone, heading towards Mount Rushmore, and I took it, and you can see Mount Rushmore in the image, but you don't see it because one, it's hidden because it's snowy, so it's kind of hidden anyways, but it's also the Mount Rushmore is profile. It's not staring straight at you like you're used to seeing your entire life. You've seen the faces looking straight at you. This one is a profile image, and only 2 of the faces are there. So again, unique perspectives, and people. I get people who still will look at that thing for 20 minutes and still not find those 2 images. So it's shoot it. Try different angles, try different things. But the thing I always tell everybody is, like when I get like moms with young kids who come in and say, well, my daughter really loves photography. What would you suggest to her? Just take the photo. Just take it. Who cares if it's awful? Just do it. You're going to learn your own fate. You're going to learn what you like. You're going to learn what you know. The more you do it, it's just like shooting goals at a soccer ball at a goal. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And you're going to find your own voice, whatever that might be, and you're going to see what you like, and then follow other photographers. Heck, there's there's dozens of photographers just in Sioux Falls alone that are wonderful photographers that I love to follow on Facebook and Instagram and talk to and look at their stuff, and they inspire me daily, and to see what they do and to see like, hey, you know what, that's a great idea. Maybe I'll come up with something like that. And that's what I encourage everybody to do, is take the photo. That's the most important thing.
All right, and now you have jumped into this full time, and so we congratulate you on that, my friend, and looking forward to maybe even getting around to some of these shows that you're going to be in.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's always a pleasure to see what you have for work, but in the meantime, I do follow you on social media all over the place, and I am just thrilled when I see your work, to know that, first of all, it's a friend, second of all, to see that it's great art, not just a picture. And I guess if I were to give you a compliment, that's the best thing I could tell you, is that it's great art, not just a picture.
Well, that's nice to hear.
All right, but when you're not part of this, what do you like to be entertained by?
Well, that's a great question. My kids are getting a little older, so it's just primarily my wife and I, and we like to go out and visit. We local art scene.
Mm-hmm.
We just did the broadcast theater, which was a lot of fun this last weekend.
You must have gone Friday?
We did go Friday.
Okay,
yep,
we were there Saturday.
I saw you on Saturday. So, just trying out those kind of fun things like that to support the local art scene is a lot of fun for us. We're Good Night Theater subscribers,
mm-hmm.
I see lots and more things coming up, and so we try to do that. And otherwise, honestly, I just kind of like to just sit at home sometimes. But if I'm sitting at home, then I'm editing too. So, the
nice thing is, and if you support the local arts scene, it supports you back.
Yeah, agreed.
It really does.
Agreed.
All right. Jason Pfitzer, my friend, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time, and best wishes to you.
No, thanks so much.
On a new adventure.
I appreciate you having me on.
Anytime. And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Mary and Andy Ritter and Jason Pfitzer. Thanks to the Source on North Phillips. That's where we recorded the Mary and Andy Ritter conversation. The wonderful Jason Pfitzer was recorded right here in the Dipsy Doodle Productions studios. But most of all, I want to thank you for your interest in Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. Our numbers continue to grow, and we certainly love it. By the way, if you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember, if you follow on Facebook or Instagram, you are automatically entered for the Pizza with a Podcaster contest. By the way, all 148 episodes are online at DaveHollyHour.com. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I like to say, put some art in your heart. Remember, my name is Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Ale Hop Brewery Tours, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook, and you'll be automatically entered in our Pizza with a Podcaster contest. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.